Well, hello. Thank you for joining us again. This is day 2 of our journey through Holy Week. My name is Stephen Campbell, and I am the pastor of the International Baptist Church of Bonn. Thank you for joining us. I pray that you will be blessed as you join us in this study of each day of the Passion Week as we prepare our hearts for Easter. Today we find ourselves again in the Gospel of Mark, where Mark tells us of the events of the day. He writes in chapter 11, "They came to Jerusalem, and he went into the temple and began to throw out those buying and selling. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the chairs of those selling doves, and he would not permit anyone to carry goods through the temple. He was teaching them, 'Is not it written, my house will be called a house of prayer for the nations? But you have made it a den of thieves.' The chief priests and the scribes heard it and started looking for a way to kill him, for they were afraid of him because of the whole crowd was astonished by his teaching. Whenever evening came, they would go out of the city." What's going on here? Well, this is Monday of Passion Week. The day before was Sunday, and Jesus entered into Jerusalem on a donkey. Mark tells us that on that day he went into the temple and looked around, and then went home to Bethany, to spend the night with his followers. Mark then tells us that the next morning he returned to Jerusalem. Evidently, he didn't approve of what he saw in the temple the day before. And so Jesus comes into the temple and he drives out the money changers. He drives out those who were selling the animals for the sacrifice. And he overturns their tables and he drives them out. Why is this important? Why is it important for us to see what Christ does and to understand the meaning of it? What is the meaning of it? Well, we see in this event that Jesus is the Lord of the temple. Throughout his ministry, Jesus has been telling those who are listening to him, telling them that he is greater than the temple, that something greater than the temple is here, not the house where God dwells, but God himself come in the flesh to walk among his people. So Jesus is the Lord of his temple. He goes to the Temple Mount and he is offended by the greed. He's offended by the thieving that is going on. And he drives out those who have defiled his house. Jesus is also the messenger of the covenant. Just like the prophecy that Mark cites here, that Jesus is that prophet of Israel coming to the temple and speaking the words of God, bringing to fulfillment the promises of the Lord. We also see that Jesus is concerned about the purity of worship. He's concerned about the hearts of those who are there. Are they there to worship, or are they there to make a profit? Jesus wants to pave the way for those who would come and worship with pure hearts, to come with those pure hearts and worship him in purity, to worship him with hearts devoted to the Lord. These are incredible truths about Christ. These are truths that should motivate us as we walk towards Easter, as we walk towards Good Friday on which Christ will be crucified, that the Lord is concerned with the purity of our hearts as we worship him, that Christ is greater than the temple, that he is the Son of God, come to take away the sins of the world. I want to thank you so much for joining us. I pray that this short video telling us what happens on the first Monday, the Monday of Holy Week. I pray that you'll be blessed as you prepare your hearts for worship.